is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, what's going on? What's up? Welcome to the podcast. It's Ruel. How you doing? How's it hanging? It's another episode. It feels like forever since I've done this. I think, I think it's because I've been doing other stuff. Yeah. Anyways, if you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. This is a podcast about. It's basically an audio blog, if you, in a sense, right? And but I try to capture what's going on in my world. And if you are a return listener, welcome back, guys. Thanks for coming back and listening to this silly show. It is a silly show. I tend to think unless you know me personally, you're not going to get the amount of value out of this stuff than folks that I do know. So get to know me better. Buy me a cup of coffee. That's easy to do. And I'll buy you a cup of coffee. No, I won't. That's crazy. You know how many listeners are listening to this podcast? I wouldn't be able to afford that much coffee. So just buy me a coffee and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Don't have to put the heavy cream. I can take care of the heavy cream myself. So, did you guys like that last episode? I'm assuming the non-runners, the non-running audience won't care about me running a trail event. But I like to think that the NSNG listeners who are curious how I may have fueled that effort, how I went about it, because maybe one day they'd like to figure out that sort of thing for themselves. You know, and it's not just last episode. All the other episodes that I've done some sort of event and I've done some sort of event or race report, I try to capture how I prepped, how I fueled, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. If you are interested, if you were of the running type and was interested in that episode, great, you know. And as usual, here I am, without another race, without another event. It's sort of in between. There's more in between events than there are events, and I think that's great because, God, I can't imagine every single episode having to do with I was at this event and I was at this race and I died and then I came back to life and died again and then I sucked on a nut butter packet and and my knee hurt and my calf hurt and my brain hurt and I was dead last again and again and again. But yeah, I had a good experience. Really had a good time. So if you haven't checked out that episode, go ahead and check out that episode. It was the my Lake Chabot Red Tail Ridge 50K experience. I call it an experience because it's not a race. It wasn't a race. It was just me out on the trail, and I really like it. And you know what? Kind of get a little dark here. Sometimes I think I'd like to go out on these really long runs out in the trail in the wilderness, and then somehow it will just all end for me. You know? Like, Ruel's gone. Like, he went out on the trail, and then he just, you know, he died. He died on the trail. I'll miss him. But fortunately, I can just keep listening to his podcast until his account gets shut down because it doesn't pay for itself. Yes, this stuff isn't free, folks. I have to pay for podcast hosting, and I doubt if my payments stop going through the podcast host account, they will just shut this thing down. So, anyways, not to get dark. So download the episode, store it on a file on your system, and then when that day comes where I step out on the trail and I don't step off, you'd be able to go back to those old episodes and hear me talking about things like, what's cooking, y'all? Speaking of what's cooking, I've aside from the tons of baking that I've been doing for the Chocolate Dozen, my non-NSNG life, I've stuck a big old pork shoulder roast in an Instant Pot with some onions and tons of seasoning and some water, and I got it cooking in the Instant Pot for about 90 minutes. Yeah, that was overnight. And then after it's done cooking for that amount of time under the pressure that it's under, it stays sort of churning on a warm setting for several hours until we decided to shut it off. So that is destined to become pulled pork of some type. Right now it's just a big old block of meat sitting in juices. Had a little bit of it last night because I've been staying up late lately. I've been indulging in just staying awake and watching stuff on Netflix. No, not pornography. But that's not Netflix, is it? Or is it? I've been going through several episodes of Marvel's The Punisher by recommendation of my brother Al. My brother Al. What's up, Albert? What's up, Al? What's up, bro? Yeah, it's because before that, I had been watching the tail end of Marvel's Iron Fist, and I thought when I first saw the series artwork or graphic on Netflix, I was like, that's dumb. That looks nothing like the comic books. Then come to think of it, if they made Iron Fist look like the comic books, some roided out looking guy with super thin tights and thin slipper shoes, with a that would just look so dumb. Am I right? Who would play it? Right? Anyways, Manny Pacquiao. He's the Iron Fist. Yeah, The Punisher. I've been digging it. I finished a whole first season, and I'm at the tail end of a second season. And you know what? I haven't checked, but I'm betting that's all there's going to be. And I'll be stuck. I'll be stuck with nothing else to watch, and I'll be so pissed. So yeah, I've been staying up late, indulging, watching Netflix, sucking on some whiskey, some bourbon, and yeah, I forgot how I got there, but I've been staying up late watching The Punisher. Last night in particular, I got up. Well, this is how I got there. I was up so late that I started to feel a little hungry, and by the time that I was up so late that the pork roast had been done cooking in the Instant Pot, so I had a taste. It was good. It was good. God made Instant Pot and pork, and it was good. Parking. Okay. So I parked across a vehicle of a man who is I guess he's a runner, I would say. He's kind of hippie looking, but he's also kind of hippie looking, like professor type looking. And the reason why I got to throw in the professor type is because, I don't know, hippie to hip professor type, if that's even a thing. But I see him around once in a while running, but he's not just running like every other person. He's running with I don't know how to describe it. I would call it like a robot. He's running with a robot. Am I high? He's running with a robot. Robots don't run. You're right. This one doesn't run. It's more like a 4-wheeled, 6-wheeled. I think maybe it's 6. I don't know. 4 or 6 wheels vehicle. And somehow he has it where it rolls alongside of him, or maybe ahead of him, and he runs behind it. And he somehow has control of it. I don't know how he's controlling it, but he runs paths and a route that is the appropriate terrain for his thing to. And all it looks like is a platform with wheels, kind of like a motorized little cart or basket. Not so much of a basket. But you could put a few things on it, but it rolls, and he runs, and he's around town, and he does this every now and then. And sometimes the thing will hit a crack in the sidewalk, and then it would, I don't know, it would like crash. And then he'd have to get it back upright and then continue on his run. Yeah, it's like his running companion. People run with dogs. He runs with some sort of car. Remote control car. And I don't know if his proximity to the thing, there's a sensor, and as long as he's within a certain proximity, it moves forward. I don't know how he gets it to turn when he needs it to turn, because I don't see him kind of crouching down and having it turn. Anyways, so I'm back on the podcast. I'm talking about food. I've been busy. As a matter of fact, I think the previous week I released 3 separate episodes, not for this podcast, one for this episode, and an episode for each of the other podcasts that I co-host. The chocolate, no, not chocolate. What am I talking about? The Service Guys podcast with Lonnie Beecham, and trying to bring the Ultra Diner out of hiatus with it's me and Tony Portero. So the most recent episode is our first guest episode at the diner, and it's with Ken Michael, who is a San Francisco resident and ultra runner, multi-day runner. It's crazy stuff. So folks who are into running, listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, you want to hear more about running, go to the Ultra Diner and download the Ultra Diner episode 6, where we have Ken Michael. Tony does a great job running the episode as I sit back and just witness the greatness, which is that episode, that conversation with the veteran ultra runners, Tony Portera and Ken Michael. Yeah, and looking forward to doing more of those, having other guests on the diner. I just want to say, I do a poor job at getting guests on this podcast, and I should get better at it. But I just want to put it out there. If you want to get on this podcast, just for the sake of getting on a podcast and talking about whatever you want, we can twist the conversation to align with things related to health if you want, or family. Play is easy. Just we could just talk about stuff that you like and what interests you. We can even talk about stuff you don't like. We can rant. We can just have a rant episode. There was an episode where Lonnie and I just talked about the stupidest stuff that we've done, when we were younger, and we were sort of kind of doing that one-up. Not really one-up. It's sort of like you say something dumb about what you did in your teenage years, and then it'll cause me to remember how stupid I was. Then I can talk about some stupid story that I was a part of, and then back and forth. Those were great because, that's my kind of play, The listener might not care. I don't know, but I sure have fun putting them on a recording and sharing them out. Till this day, I can go back to those episodes. I could listen and just crack myself up. Oh, God. Anyways, yeah. What's up, Lonnie? It's been a long time since I talked to you last. Yeah. I don't have much of an update as far as running because I haven't done much running since. I think I had like one run since the 50K event, the Lake Chabot, and it's been raining tons, and I've just not had the motivation to get out and and run in the rain. Although I start the day thinking I'm gonna go run in the rain, and I have my gear every time. Like right now, I have gear in my bag. But the question is, will I be too busy, or will I not have the motivation? And it'll just be another one of those days. On the bright side, I am spending a lot of time on my feet, not running. I'll choose to stand at the office. I don't have a standing desk. I have stuff to prop my computer on that allows me to stand. It's great. And how I get to the train station, I have a quarter of a mile. Is that right? Quarter of a mile walk to the train station. And then at the end of the day, that walk, there's a bit more urgency getting to where I need to get, and it's a run. It's a quarter mile run with a backpack with a laptop, and sometimes the backpack has other stuff, and it's kind of a heavy backpack. I don't know why I do that to myself, but I'm running with a backpack for about a quarter of a mile to my vehicle. Good times. Sometimes in the rain. So yeah. So I'm sitting in my vehicle getting ready to do that first quarter mile. But I just want to sit down and talk to you guys. Can I just talk to you guys? I'm out of my mind. So I've been thinking about between now and May doing a long solo run. Haven't done those in a while. The last one I did wasn't that long. It was for my birthday. My thought was that I would do if I remember correctly, the thought was that if I could start early enough, I would try to pull 40 something miles. So dumb, right? I just just sit down one day, I'm thinking I'm gonna run 43.7 miles on a given day. Yeah, that's what I'll do. It's like, never mind my fitness, I'm just gonna throw out an arbitrary mileage and that'll be my goal, and I'll go run it. And I didn't do it. I just got bored. I don't know, I pulled 24 miles, I think. I don't know. But it was fun. So here I am thinking, okay, I'm gonna do 50 miles. I'm gonna put 50 miles out there. I'm just gonna run it. Not train, nothing. Just pick a date. Pick a time period where I'm gonna fit it in. No training whatsoever. I'm an idiot. I don't know how to train. I come to think, I don't know how to train. I don't. I just fit in times where I can get in a workout and hope and think that this is a level of exercise that I'll go towards some sort of training, but there's no rhyme or reason or method. It's not great. But do I think I can run 50? I think I can run 50 if I don't get bored out of my mind, and if I start early enough. And that's the key. I need to start early enough, which means it's going to be dark and it's going to be cold, and I'm not going to have fun with a single headlamp and then trying to deal with the shadows or the non-shadows and all of that. I can easily lose interest because I'm not prepared for that sort of condition. But assuming I can get past it, when dawn breaks, and then I'll feel fantastic seeing the sun or the daylight. It's pretty cloudy these days. And I could just get to work. And assuming I start at 4, I'll give myself, 12 hours, right? Start at 4 in the morning. God, that's early. It just makes me sick thinking about it. Oh, it's dark, it's cold, everyone's warm and cozy at home. And here I am, I'm about to just go wandering out into the darkness around town just so I can meet some arbitrary distance or some predetermined distance. Yeah, I gotta work on my motivation. Not in addition to my training. So dumb. Yeah, that's the theme of this podcast. It's so dumb. Anywho, as I wipe the crust off of my nostrils. Gross. So that's the thought, is that run, and we'll see how it goes. I've just been really distracted with other things. I haven't been able to focus on the runs, but I do intend on participating in May's Bologna 50K. I haven't even checked, oh my god, if registration's even open, and I'd be bummed if I wasn't able to do that event. It was a challenging 10 hours out on that course. So if I think about it, I need to be serious about getting some training. So sloppy me, lazy me. Hey, guess what? My son is going to try and take up the violin. Well, he has to take up the violin now because we picked up a violin for him, a half-sized violin for students, right? He's didn't realize how affordable a violin can be on Amazon. So he has a violin. I helped him tune it, and broke a string in the process. I didn't understand a way that the little knobs for tightening the string were, how they worked so much. I'm so used to turning the little things on the top of the guitar for tuning the guitar strings, but on the violin there's the top of the board, the tip, whatever, that where it has knobs, but then also closer to the bottom there's also little knobs for tuning the string. So once I figured out how to lock the knobs on the top in place, then that was good. I didn't realize that guitars, you just kind of turn one way or the other and it holds. It's got some gears or something. But then in this student violin, it's just like a wooden knob peg that just kind of goes through the thing, and you weave and wind the knob to get the strings tightened. But if you don't jam the peg into one of the holes, it'll just kind of unravel in a way. Not unravel like you're a cat playing with a ball of yarn, but it won't hold. So I didn't realize. I thought there was a defect in one of the knobs, but it was just my not understanding how it works. So I have a better understanding of a violin now, and I'm not a violin person. I tell my son, I don't know, son. I played the saxophone for 7 or 8 years. That's what I know. I can help with the music piece and the tuning piece, but I don't know much about. I'm learning the violin along with you as far as how to prep the bow and tune the strings, tune the thing, how to hold the thing. So, needless to say, I got it tuned pretty good, and it's interesting because you can find websites with audio files that'll help you tune, get you the right note to tune your strings on, and got it pretty damn close. And once that happened, the working the violin, I don't even know how you call it. It's not strumming. It's, I don't know, bowing. Attempting to play something. It's not horrible, man. Before in the beginning, when it wasn't tuned and the bow wasn't prepped with the rosin, thing just sounded like surface sound. Like it sounded like just rubbing strings, and then if there was a little bit of a sound, it was more of a screech, as you can imagine. But man, once the bow was prepped and once the strings were tuned, you could get a nice sound on that thing, and kind of feel cool that he's getting into it. He's kind of musical, so this is gonna be different, right? Learning the mechanics and learning the language of music. He's good at playing things by ear. So it'll be interesting. He has a good ear. I don't think so. I think I have a horrible ear. All this wax buildup in my ear. But fortunately, I have Apple AirPods that helps remove all of that gunk for me. Gross. So I mentioned I was pretty busy. I think we all are busy, but I have the option of talking about how busy I am on these podcasts, so I'm going to talk about it. AbadamStudios.com, they're a sponsor for the Service Guys podcast. They're a co-sponsor. And AbadamStudios.com is their web design and web and graphic design and service, and that's been keeping me busy for a bit. I have the fortunate opportunity of helping someone else redesign their site, and I'm trying to figure out what I like about it. And as I do more and more of these projects, getting a website up for me is nothing, but it's capturing the soul of what the website is supposed to represent, if that even makes sense. Like for the chocolatedozen.com, my wife's bake shop, right? She has some ideas of how she wants the website to be. It's like minimal amount of pages, don't need a whole bunch of pages, just sort of get to the point, get to the point about what it is, get to the point as to how can you get testimonials, get to the point as far as how do you get to the shop and actually look for the stuff that you want to order. That's it. And then with every other site, they're a business, they're a personal brand, so it's fun learning about other people's business, and going through the discovery process of what would they like to represent on a website. A lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, there's I'll have a lousy about page, because when I started building sites, it was about, I figured it was about me, but it shouldn't be about me. It should be a little bit about me, but more about what I bring to the table and what I've done and how I can help. So, taking that same sort of approach to helping others, who may not even have much of an about page, and help them. I'm not just the guy that builds the site and the pages, but I'm also becoming the person who creates the copy or the story or the text descriptions, which, you know, it's fun. It's a fun craft to learn, right? It's sort of marketing. It's sort of content creation. It's sort of, you know, whatever. And you it's like, I don't know, you're an author of some sort. You make up a story. You know. And the cool thing about that is, I'm guilty of this, where I'm so desensitized to things that I do day to day, for example, in my day job, that I don't think there's anything interesting in it, right? In my day job, I test apps and I test software, and I'm part of the process of software development, and I also help sort of drive the quality processes and testing processes, you know. And I've been doing it for so long that, you know, it's not anything that I really have to think about. I just do it. But if someone were to ask me about it, maybe I'll start talking about it in a way that starts to sound a little bit interesting, but I don't often frame my thoughts and have my words describe it all. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't know how to describe it. You know, if you could just imagine something that you do often, and you do it so much so often that it's automatic, but that there's no need to describe it. There's no need to document or list steps on how to do anything. You just do it, right? But then now think, let's say it's, I don't know, brushing your teeth, wiping your ass, I don't know, taking a dump, I don't know, you know, or unclogging a clogged toilet. I mean, if you had to describe any one of those things, not just in steps, it wouldn't be in steps like how to. It really wouldn't be in how to. It would be like, can you write a paragraph about how you have the experience and are very successful and have helped X number of whatever unclog their toilet, flush, you know, wipe their ass, you know, take a dump, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, and write it in a way that is informative and that you can make people believe that you are the expert in taking that dump and wiping your ass and brushing your teeth. Right? It's I don't know, it's a different type of thought and writing, you know. It's not just flush the toilet guy. I flush toilets. Done. I can flush your toilet and clear the bowl of all your crap. But rather something more like, you know, I have 40 plus years taking a dump and flushing toilets. I've flushed many toilets in my life. You know, and I've, you know, and, you know, if you have a problem flushing your toilets, you know, whether your toilet is big or small, has blue water, no water, has like, you know, low water pressure, you know, I've helped many satisfied poopers with their toilet flushing, you know, from, you know, individuals in, you know, Cub Scout meetings to medium to small companies like, I don't know, Toilets R Us. You know, I've helped many who've had problems figuring out how to flush their toilets. Whether your toilet flusher is a lever on the side, or a knob on the top, or a cord you pull from above, you know, I can help you. I can help you flush those toilets successfully, and you know, and I can get the job done right. And if to know more about my toilet flushing abilities, check out my reviews, recommendations, and testimonials on this page. Click right here. Ruel helped me flush my toilet so well that, I tell everybody about it. I tell everybody who has a toilet, if you need help flushing your toilet, please see Ruel. He will help you get it done. And not only that, he's helped me with other things. He's actually flushed all the other toilets in my house that I didn't realize I needed flushing. And man, they were filthy. They were disgusting. I have kids and they've just been using the toilet without flushing. And I didn't realize that was happening. So I'm glad that I called Ruel to help me flush my toilet, because he went and did more than he was called to do. Lonnie, you're listening to this right now and you're like, you're such an idiot, Ru. I am, but my point is, I'm having a good time helping folks out, redesign their sites, and in the process learning about people's businesses, and trying to capture the essence of what it's all about. And it's kind of dumb, right? You're like, what are you talking about? You're just putting words, It's like, duh, you can just copy and paste off the internet. I know, duh, you can do that, but what's the fun in that? You could, from afar, it could look like a good website, but when you get down to reading through it, you'd be like, that's dumb. But it's content. It's your content when it comes down to it. You have it be whatever flavor it needs to be to represent your brand, your business, and when it's all done, and I'm not talking to you, Lonnie, I'm talking just out in general. Like, I'm working on a website for a graphic designer, if you will, right? It's who has like excellent artistic abilities, vision, blah blah blah, has a lot of training, but then their thing is not building websites, right? They have a website from like 4 years ago that isn't responsive, it isn't mobile friendly, and actually when I look at it, I'm thinking it really pisses me off. I can't stand it. So I'm glad that I've been put on board to help with it, because my first version of the website is going to be awesome, I know. And that's just first version, I look forward to, just getting the site out of being garbage into something that's like, wow, yep, that's up to date, and there's more content, and there's more ways to reach, the company or the person, and things flow better, accessing things make sense. Oh, God, but it takes work, and I have to juggle everything else I do, but I do it, it's stuff that I like to do. And when it's all done, knowing that stuff can serve and live and be seen, I think every creator or creative or artist, kind of thrives on that stuff. So, anyways, that's me just going more off the rails than I ordinarily do. I apologize. And I have other website projects that I'm working on that are more personal projects. Working on a personal site. It's just basically ruelabadam.com, right? And I need it to sort of represent more than just the podcasting side, more than just the graphic design and web design side, but also captures the me as someone in software engineering, and yeah, just I want to be able to just put myself out there, like in my entirety, if that even makes any sense. Like, there are like my dad. If I think about my father, websites weren't really a big thing in his day, and he wasn't a content creator like folks on a podcast or on a blog or a vlog or on social media, but he was very artistic. He was very crafty. He was very skilled, and I think it's a shame that he and there's many others out there that can create stuff they've not been able, they weren't able to showcase that stuff and have that stuff live on. It's why artists build a whole bunch of crap and people collect stuff, and there are galleries and museums and all this stuff, right? It's great, but this day and age is so easy to create. It's so easy to capture and store stuff. It doesn't have to be a big block of stone or a statue, bronze. It doesn't have to be oil painting on a canvas. It could, right? And when it's that physical, you can capture that on video, you can capture that on photos, and you could share it online. You can have it be represented online, a place where you can go and people can search it and find it or just get to it. And all of that creativity, all of that, the product of that creativity, that art is out there, and it can inspire others. It's amazing. I have a friend who's an artist, painter. I don't know that many artists and painters like him, and when I get to see some of his work rather up front at his place or through his website, I don't know, it's just, there's something about art, right? For me, it's trying to understand not just what I see, but understand what sort of motivation or inspiration had occurred that took the artist to that end result. And there's beauty in that. And so when I witness art pieces, I'm not trying to figure out why is it that abstract, and where's its face, and why is the eyeball over there when on the face your eyeball would be over there. It's some other level that than that, right? It's not like, oh, why do you use that material, or why do you use that stroke? Why is it textured that way? It's like where did that idea come from, and what was the motivation behind it? And then it's all the other stuff too. It's like, do I like it? How does it make me feel? Right? I don't know. What am I talking about? I'm talking about nothing. And so the abbotmstudios.com site is something that is where I have my graphic and web design sort of life live, and I've been helping others with their projects. I like to call it a one-stop shop for stuff, because it's not just web and graphic design. I had this company wanted me to quote. They needed a redesigned site, and it got me thinking about, it's more than just the pages. It's a whole it's a whole set of things that they're not thinking about, like hosting, domain name, all of that setup, backups, right? The images, optimizing content, setting up metadata and setting up for searchability, and optimizing for searchability. And it's adding new pages. It's the actual design, right? A page is a page, but then now you have a blank page. Where are you going to put your words? Where are you going to put your graphics? Where are you going to put it in a way that the usability makes sense? There's also like a standard too that I like, because most folks know that when you get to a website, right, there's going to be some sort of navigation, and you don't want it. If you're a business, you don't want your customers to have to, click under this rock to find the link to, I don't know, something. You don't want to. You want to like make a standard, like go here. That's where the menu's at. Okay, I want to know more about the company. Most sites have what's called an about page. Find the about page, right? How do I get a hold of this company? Most websites will have a contact page, right? There's sort of standard elements, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. I should call it a show. Not much of a show, but damn it, guys. Thanks for listening. You know how to reach me. You can reach me. Reach me on the website. Reach me on social. I have a lot going on. And it doesn't have to be related to running. It could be related to Abraham Studios. It could be related to the Chocolate Dozen. It could be related to the Service Guys podcast, the Ultra Diner. I don't care, right? It could be anything, right? If you need me to flush your toilets, I could help you with that. All right, thanks for listening. Remember, folks, hug your friends, hug your family, eat something delicious, and go flush something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.